thought, right.
Thank you. The spirit of Antichrist has been working relentlessly for 2,000 years to achieve a worldwide consolidation of ecclesiastical and political power. What the Roman state church accomplished on a small scale during the Middle Ages is what she desires to achieve on a global scale in the 21st century. But if she fails to reach her goal within the next 100 years, she won't quit. She will continue to work tirelessly for world power, even if it should take another 2 millennia. In her 2 social encyclicals of the 20th century, the Roman state church has frequently called for world government. One of the major documents issued by the Second Vatican Council, Gaudium et Spes, is typical. It is our clear duty, therefore, to strain every muscle in working for the time when all war can be completely outlawed by international consent. This goal undoubtedly requires the establishment of a universal public authority, acknowledged as such by all and endowed with the power to safeguard on the behalf of all security, regard for justice, and respect for rights. This universal public authority is necessary for several reasons. Here the Roman state church mentions 3: security, justice, and rights. One of the more significant reasons for world government is to manage the world economy and redistribute goods from the rich nations to the poor nations. John Paul II wrote in 1987 to express, quote, his insistence on the most serious duty incumbent on the more developed nations to help the developing countries, unquote. The common good is the great fiction used by the Roman state church to justify government control of society and economy. It is also useful in arguing for a world government, as many popes have done. The Catechism of the Catholic Church points out that, quote, human interdependence is increasing and gradually spreading throughout the world. The unity of the human family, embracing people who enjoy equal natural dignity, implies a universal common good. This good calls for an organization of the community of nations able to provide for the different needs of men, food, hygiene, education. All of this is driven by the pagan theological premise that the members of mankind share the same basic rights and duties as well as the same supernatural destiny. Because all men are joined together by reason of their common origin, their redemption by Christ, and their supernatural destiny, and all are called to form one Christian family, we appealed in the encyclical Mater et Magistra to economically developed nations to come to the aid of those which were in the process of development. Notice how they say that all men share the same supernatural destiny. This is the theological foundation for world government. The Roman state church's grand design for world government rests on the fundamental assumption of the spiritual unity of the human race. Since it is world justice which is in question here, the unity of the human family must first of all be seriously affirmed. Christians find a sign of this solidarity in the fact that all human beings are destined to become in Christ sharers of the divine nature. Unquote. The Roman state church sees herself as an unique institution that alone can accomplish this global unification. Moreover, since in virtue of her mission and nature she is bound to no particular form of human culture, nor to any political, economic, or social system, the Roman state church, by her very universality, can be a very close bond between diverse human communities and nations, provided these trust her and truly acknowledge her right to true freedom in fulfilling her mission. Few people understand the importance of the Roman state church in contemporary international affairs. When the United States appointed an ambassador to the Roman state church in 1984 during the Reagan administration, the Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs commented on the diplomatic significance of the Roman state church in its report on the bill. The Vatican is an important player on the world stage. It maintains a diplomatic presence and has wide influence and access to important areas of great interest to the United States, such as Eastern Europe, Central America, Africa, and the Middle East. Vatican diplomats, widely regarded as among the most skilled in the world, play an active role in international political affairs. Less well known are the Vatican's day-to-day but very important activities related to issues across the whole spectrum of American concerns, including immigration policy, refugee resettlement, food and medicine distribution, narcotics control, and education. The committee noted that diplomatic recognition focuses on the Pope as chief of state of the Vatican City and not on his office as leader of the Roman State Church, of the Roman Catholic Church. They didn't use it. Sorry. The last sentence quoted is, of course, a fiction, for Vatican City is only 108 acres and has a population of only a few hundred people. The only reason it's significant is that it is the headquarters of the Roman State Church, just as the Kremlin was the headquarters of the Soviet Union and the White House is the headquarters of the United States. The committee report betrays the real intention of the Senate by elsewhere and repeatedly referring to the new United States ambassador as the ambassador to the Holy See, not to Vatican City. The Holy See, embodying spiritual and temporal sovereignty, appears in the words of the New Catholic Encyclopedia as somewhat an anomaly in international law. That is, as the only religious institution engaged in diplomatic intercourse. As Richard mentioned earlier, I believe, the Vatican ambassador in various nations serves as the dean of ambassadors. That is, he is the first. He's given the highest respect by serving as dean of ambassadors in that nation. In 1957, the United Nations and the Holy See agreed to discontinue the usage Vatican City and to speak of the Holy See. The statement in the Senate report quoted above was apparently designed to placate and mislead those who oppose sending an ambassador to the Roman State Church as being a violation of the principle of separation of church and state. This anomaly, as the New Catholic Encyclopedia calls the Roman State Church, has taken every opportunity to advance its goal of world government. Paul VI in 1967 included an entire section titled Toward an Effective World Authority in his encyclical Popularum Progressio. This international collaboration on a worldwide scale requires institutions that will prepare, coordinate, and direct it until finally there is established an order of justice which is universally recognized. Who does not see the necessity of thus establishing progressively a world authority capable of acting effectively in the juridical and political sectors? There is a need, wrote Paul VI, in the coming 80th, on the celebration of the 80th anniversary of Leo XIII's 1891 encyclical on the condition of the working classes, to establish a greater justice in the sharing of goods, both within national communities and on the international level. John Paul II elaborated, reasserting the state church's doctrines of solidarity and the universal destination of goods. When interdependence becomes recognized in this way, the correlative response as a moral and social attitude as a virtue is solidarity. This, then, is not a feeling of vague compassion or shallow distress at the misfortunes of so many people, both near and far. On the contrary, it is a firm and persevering determination to commit oneself to the common good, because we are all really responsible for all. This determination is based on the solid conviction that what is hindering full development is that desire for profit and that thirst for power already mentioned. In addition to the theological reasons why the world must be unified, world government is necessary because the moral order demands it, in order to manage the environment, to control multinational corporations, to end international free trade, to transfer massive amounts of wealth from rich nations to poor nations, to foster development and save the peace, and because national governments are incapable of ensuring the universal common good. In the judgment of the Roman State Church, the United Nations is, at the present time, the likeliest vehicle to achieve the political and economic world unification that the Roman State Church desires. The State Church has been lavish in her moral support for the United Nations. John the 23rd has referred to the UN Declaration of Human Rights as an act of the highest importance performed by the United Nations Organization, approved by the General Assembly of December 10, 1948. It is therefore our ardent desire that the UNO, in its structure and in its means, may become ever more equal to the magnitude and nobility of its tasks, and may the time come as quickly as possible when every human being will find therein an effective safeguard for the rights which derive directly from his dignity as a person, and which are therefore universal, inviolable, and inalienable rights. Ayn Rand was exactly right when she wrote in 1967, "The Catholic Church has never given up the hope to reestablish the medieval union of church and state with a global state and a global theocracy as its ultimate goal." The Roman state church is a monster of ecclesiastical and political power. Her political thought is totalitarian, and whenever she has had the opportunity to apply her principles, the result has been bloody repression. If, since the triumph of the Reformation, she has muted her assertions of full, supreme, and irresponsible power, and has murdered fewer people than before, such changes in behavior are not due to a change in her ideas, but to a change in her circumstances. Lord Acton noted a century ago that it was only when the Roman state church faced public opinion that disapproved of state church-sanctioned murder that she slowed her persecutions and attempted to speak with a voice less bloodthirsty. The Roman state church in the 20th century, however, is an institution recovering from a mortal wound. If and when she regains her power and authority, she will impose the most murderous regime that the planet has yet seen.